All right, welcome. And this is the second part series. Last time, the second video of the 4-part series. The first time we talked about gaining and at what rate that should be done in order to maintain a more lean physique year-round, and not just for the sake of vanity, but for functional reasons too. Just because I think you get more out of it when it's all said and done. So we talked about that, talked about gaining, and usually, and the best way, ideally the best way to control whether we gain or lose, it's going to be via controlling our intake, right? So how much we take in. We take in less when we want to lose, take in more when we want to gain. Simple enough, okay? And again, I just really want to put it out there that anything I say in these videos, it's just general information, it's just ideas. It's not something that I want you to go run and plug in immediately. I just want to give you guys the tools, okay? I think the best information out there is not the information that just gives you a piece of paper and tells you to do this and only this. The best information out there expands your knowledge reserves, broadens your horizons, and gives you the tools to be more self-sufficient, okay? And make the right calls when it comes time to make a decision, okay? So these are ideas. Think of it that way, okay? So back to the whole nutritional aspect of what we're trying to achieve here. Everyone who's seeing this video most likely is on macros. They have a good control. They know what they're taking in terms of their macronutrients. So I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that, okay? And quite often what will happen is that I'll get a message from someone concerning their macros, and usually, and much too often, in my opinion, it looks like this. Okay, 83 grams of fat, 411 grams of carbs, 197 grams of protein. And big issue I have with that is that I think it puts these macronutrients on a pedestal. So what happens if you eat 84 grams of fat, maybe 82, spontaneously combust? I don't know. But again, it encourages the idea that this is it. Personally, I dislike that. And again, that's why we're going to talk about ranges. Not only because, it gets you away from that line of thinking, but because it's actually conducive to what we're going to try to accomplish here, and that's how to gain in a manner that's a bit more lean than what I usually tend to see. So we're going to hook this dude up with, first of all, we're going to hook him up with a more balanced approach. Chances are he got these macronutrients because he plugged them into some calculator, used a percentage formula. I don't know, but let's find him some new macros. So 83 grams of fat is going to turn to 80. We're just rounding, nothing special here. 411 grams of carbs, 400. 197 grams of protein turns into 200. Calories go from 3,179 to 3,120. Okay, and I think he will survive. I don't think anything bad's gonna happen. And we're gonna call this, I guess, his anchor macros, okay? This is what, at this point, given some trial and error, we know is a surplus, okay? And, how much calories you burn up on any given day, it just changes so much, but we'll say on most days, this is enough to create some form of weight gain, okay? What we're gonna do now is we're gonna set him up with some ranges. So holy crap, we just totally took away his 83 grams of fat, turned into 80, and now we're gonna tell him it's okay to have a range in his fat intake, in his carb intake, and in his protein intake. So this is what it's going to look like. Fat, we're going to bring it down. This is going to be the anchor, and we're going to, in this case, go down 10 grams of fat, or up 5 grams of fat. So that's going to be his range upwards and downwards. So on any given day now, he takes in 70 to 85 grams of fat. Those are his ranges. If he hits 73 grams of fat, that's okay. If he hits 83 grams of fat, that is okay. It really doesn't matter so long as it's kind of in there. Okay, and his 400 grams of carbs, so minus 25 plus 25, he's going to eat on any given day now 375. That's going to be the lower end. The higher end of his range is 425. Okay, and his protein. His protein is going to go from his anchor, which was 200, to 15 down or 15 up. So 185 grams of protein, or 215 grams of protein on any given day. So his macros, you know, those are some pretty nice ranges. And what does that look like in terms of calories? On the lower end of his ranges, he can eat 2,870, 3,325 on the higher end. Okay, and again, what this does, it just encourages you to have some sort of flexibility. And the real important thing here is that let's say for someone who's managing their weight gain, and the weight's moving a little bit too quick, it's as simple as, you know, hitting a few days on the lower end of this. And let's say it's not budging. It's not budging. He's just not making progress. The scale's actually going back some. You know, we tend to lean more towards this side. It doesn't have to be either extreme. Just you know, you can just favor one side compared to the other. And not just when it comes to weight gain. Recovery is another reason to kind of, you know, go back and forth with your food intake. However, the biggest way that this will actually help you with what we're focusing on here, which is gaining lean. First of all, got rid of a lot of that OCD behavior, which is great. Puts you a bit more in tune with your recovery, so you know you get to move up and down those ranges based on that. But the biggest thing is that, you know, for example, you'll see a lot of guys that they're like, and you'll see this, and they're hilarious. It's on Facebook, and they'll post pictures of their last meal of the day simply because they fell behind on their macronutrients. And you know, they're like, oh man, I have you know, 40 grams of fat, 200 grams of carbs, 80 grams of protein. What am I going to do? And they end up eating all of that. Well, think about it this way. When you're dieting, right, you recover from your workouts. It might not be as quick. You know, you're not hitting PRs on a regular basis like you do when you're in the meat and potatoes portion of your gaining phase, but you still recover. Okay, so for example, when a day comes like this, when you kind of fall back on your macros, you know, you fell behind somewhat, it's okay to stay on the lower end, and you know, take that as a day where maybe you're at a slight deficit, or just maybe maintenance, whatever. But you know, it lets you control what you're eating in terms of you know, not having to be ball and chain to that, and it puts you more in tune with you know, it gives you the controls, basically. If you're gaining too fast, you just kind of lean more on this side. And if you're not gaining, you're backtracking, you kind of go to this guy a bit more. So again, I'm a big fan of ranges because it preaches a more relaxed attitude when it comes time to gain. And not only that, it most importantly, it gives you the controls to, you know, make the decisions, which again, I think all good information doesn't give you the answer. It teaches you how to fish. Okay, so that's how I would incorporate ranges to control you know, what rate I gain at. And not only that, but to just be a bit more relaxed and not having to worry about how I'm gonna, you know, hit 411 grams of carbohydrates. So that's this piece, and we have a few more of these to go, but hopefully so far you guys have enjoyed this and can put some of these ideas to use in your gaining phases.